Stonehenge is probably the most recognisable stone circle in Britain. The structure has fascinated people for centuries, and there are many theories as to its purpose. Stonehenge has suffered over the years from trophy hunters and the wear and tear of many visitors. The structure is now surrounded by a fence, which, although not aesthetically pleasing, is helping to preserve the monument from erosion. Archaeologists have agreed that Stonehenge was built in 4 distinct phases. The first phase began around 3200 BC and consisted of the henge earthwork enclosing a wooden building. The second phase began around 2200 BC. Blue dolerite stones with their origin in the Preseli Mountains in Wales were erected in 2 concentric circles. An urban avenue was also created. The third phase began around 2000 BC. First, the blue stones were removed and the large sarsen blocks erected in the pattern still visible today. The sarsen stones vary in weight from 20 to 50 tons and were quarried and transported from the Marlborough Downs 18 miles away. They were smoothed and finished to precision with stone hand tools and locked together with mortise and tenon joints. The fourth phase began around 1600 BC when the blue stones were re-erected from an unknown storage place to the centre of the Great Horseshoe. Stones in the 4 directions were carved with axe heads and depictions of other weapons, and the stone known as the altar stone was also erected in the centre of the circle. It may have once stood upright. The stones have inspired many legends and folklore over the centuries. Much of the folklore seems to try and explain the origin of the circle structure as the work of giants, gods or wizards. It was probably easier to accept this than to believe that a past culture could have had better technology. During the Middle Ages, Geoffrey of Monmouth, whose colourful writings have had great influence on British mythology, wrote that the stones were originally brought from Africa to Ireland by a race of giants. They were then transported across the sea by the magic of Merlin during the beginning of the Dark Ages. The heel stone is said to have been thrown by the devil at a monk who was spying on him between the stones. The stone pinned the unfortunate clergyman to the ground by his heel. Other folklore suggests that the stones are uncountable. A baker tried to count them by placing a loaf of bread on each stone. He came up with a number, but then made the mistake of going through the whole process again and could never get the sets of numbers to tally. Stonehenge has stimulated a great deal of debate over the years from experts and laymen alike. The first account that the stones may have been aligned to key dates was by William Stukeley, who noted that the axis of the earthen avenue aligns to where the sun rises on the longest day. In the 1960s, an astrophysicist called Gerald Hawkins studied Stonehenge alignments by computer and concluded that the trilithons framed key dates in the megalithic calendar. Although the alignments are not razor sharp in accuracy, they are accurate enough to have been used by a megalithic man for ceremonial and astronomical purposes. The cycle of the moon is over an 18.61 year cycle, and the observation of the sky must have been over a prolonged period of time to incorporate the correct alignments.